What's going on, everyone? This is Chris on IMTN Worldwide Radio, and this is Around the ATL, talking some Falcons football today, Falcons versus Raiders to be specific. Make sure that you, if you can, subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube page to watch and listen to the show. Make sure you can also follow on IMTN Worldwide Radio on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, Intellect ATL, and my co-host Jordan Jackson, Jordan23 ATL on Twitter. We are now on Twitch, so if you're on Twitch, you can find us there on IMTN Worldwide Radio as well. Today's show is brought to you as usual by Southern Classic Transportation. One thing I want to mention about them also is the ease of going out and then being able to come back, because they actually stay there for you. So if you're going out and you know you're going to have a few drinks or whatnot, they're going to stay there and take you back home. They're not just dropping you off like an Uber. They're your driver for that day, that night, the hours that you need. So call 404-291-0150 if you're in the city of Atlanta, or if you need to go out of town, they'll be there for you as well. So make sure you let them know that Around the ATL sent you. And of course, last but not least, if you know someone in the Atlanta area that needs a photo shoot, make sure you visit IMTN Worldwide Images. So lo and behold, the Falcons actually made a bold move and made a decision about the season in the same season. Isn't that amazing? It boggles my mind, because today was actually going to be a completely different show until sometime yesterday. I'm trying to see if I can adjust this. Let's see if I can do that. Bear with me real quick here. Let's see. What can I use? Sorry about that. Usually I try to get that settled, but it's so bright today. And it actually didn't work. Oh, here it is. That's what it was. So anyway, it's like 70 degrees every day now in the middle of winter, right? So the day before, I actually was going to talk completely different Falcons football on the premise, why is it that other teams fix and admit mistakes in time to save their seasons when they can see things are going wrong, and how so many other teams are so much better at making in-season adjustments, right? And their records reflect it. And I was going to talk about that specifically for the Falcons, but then they actually make a move. They actually announced that Kirk Cousins is benched and Penix is the quarterback for now. And we'll see what happens. But then again, now though, with that move being made, it's like, well, why now? Like, at a certain point, when will the Falcons ever really get it together? When will the Falcons organization get it together? Why now? Why make the move now? Because again, we were 6-3, and then we weren't. We lost 4 games in a row. So why make Penix Jr. the quarterback now? Okay. And whose call really was it? Was it Raheem Morris? Was it the organization? I don't know. But we're going to talk about all of that in a second. So actually, that second is now. So why again was Kurt not benched prior to this? So was it a matter of, was Penix not ready? We decided to not go for a specific need, edge rush, and say we're going to get another offensive player in our draft for what, the 4th straight season. We're going to triple, quadruple down and say we're not going to address an obvious need for our team. And 10 weeks went by before we can get over double-digit sacks. Okay, fine, right? and you say, okay, we get a quarterback and we get somebody that will give us a chance to compete after Kirk Cousins. But at the same time, Kirk Cousins is coming off an injury. So what if Kirk wasn't able to play? Would Penix have played or not? Kirk has played every game this season, right? But what if he hadn't? What if game 2 of the season, Kirk would have been, oh, I'm limping off. Was Penix not allowed to play at that point? Who's our third string quarterback? I have no idea. Right? So was it he wasn't ready, or you just were not going to play Penix? He was not going to be playing this year, no matter what. And then what changed if that was the premise? Why would Morris get bullied into starting Penix? We won Monday night. We did win the game. We did get one passing touchdown. Just one. So what is it? Because it can't be both things, correct? We were 6-3. We weren't seeing any passing touchdowns. We were seeing all these turnovers and interceptions, the non-movement of the ball up and down the field. And so now we're going to make a move. And again, if it was the latter, why was Morris willing to basically give up the entire regular season just because? Just because the move was made to get Kirk, the investment was made to get Kirk, and basically that was the premise that Penix can't play because he did do this for Kirk Cousins. So he has to play no matter what. He has to be allowed to get himself out of this rut or whatever you want to call it. Does that really make sense for all the players that are on the field trying to win these games? That's kind of messed up, right? We're staring our 4th straight season of losing 10 games. That's 40 losses, okay? And then also on top of that, missing the playoffs. Again, at the very beginning of this season, I said this, especially when they made the Kirk move, this had to be a season where the Falcons win 10 games, we win the division, and we make the playoffs, and maybe win a playoff game. All of those things really kind of needed to happen. Why wouldn't y'all want that to happen? I'm not sure. Again, a lot of people out there don't have a competitive bone in their body, and they want to wait another generation before we see any winning. We needed to win this season. We needed to win now. We needed to win this season. We have too many talented players on our team going through the motions, basically, because we have no shot of winning. Just cause? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Now, let's talk about this in a little. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I can do it in another show. The Atlanta Falcons have never hired a head coach with a winning record. Let me say that again. The Atlanta Falcons organization have never hired a coach that prior to coming to the Atlanta Falcons had a winning record. That has to mean something to somebody. Now, in context, we could always say, well, they had that one stretch where they, had this, 3-year stretch, and they made it to a Super Bowl. They won their conference, and they went to the Super Bowl. Didn't win the Super Bowl, but they did get there. And then maybe we hire a coach that just hasn't coached before, and that's why they didn't have a winning record. But as a Falcons coach, they did end up being a winning coach, and that's fine and well and good and dandy. But why wouldn't you want to bring in someone who has actually built a winning culture on their own by being the head coach, calling the shots, not just part of an organization? Because for all that being said and done, being part of an organization, and that's fine, being an assistant or being a coordinator, but you weren't the one calling the shots. You weren't the one, the last decision has to go through the head coach. You see what I'm saying? Building an actual coaching staff that can help you win. You see what I'm saying? over a long period of time. Falcons have never done that. They had a chance to do it. They had a chance to get Bill Belichick, but they chose not to do it. They had a chance to get him. He's in North Carolina now, college football with the NIL and stuff. I was actually going to break down all of our coaches, but I didn't have time. I might do that in another show. Or let's do this. I'll do this real quick as a sub segue, I should say. What I was going to do is actually show you what the coach did before coming to the Falcons and then what they did after they came to the Falcons, but I didn't get enough time. So all I will do is I'll just go through the Atlanta Falcons head coaching history. First coach, 1966. He went 4-26. The second coach, his name was Norm Hecker, by the way. The second coach was Norm Van Brocklin. He went 37-49. Oh, my bad. The first coach was 4-26 and won. He had one tie. Norm Van Brocklin was 37-49, had 3 ties. Marion Campbell was the next coach, went 6-19. Pat Pepler was the next coach. He went 3-6. The next coach, Lehman Bennett, he was above 500. He went 46-41. One NFC West championship, 3 playoff appearances. The next coach, Dan Henning, went 22-41 and won. Marion Campbell coached again, went 11-32. Didn't work out the first time. Let's try him again, they said. John Hannafin went 0-4. Jerry Glanville, the one playoff berth, he went 27-37. 1991, though, too legit to quit season, Jerry Glanville, right? Run and shoot. So, of course, June Jones followed him up. He went 19-29, one playoff berth. Then, of course, we got Dan Reeves came in here. And again, remember, we have not hired a coach that prior to being a Falcon had a winning coaching record. But Dan at least had credibility as a coach, at the very least. But as a Falcons coach, he was 49-59. And of course, one NFC championship, win, a couple of playoff berths, coach of the year. Made it to the Super Bowl. Next coach after that was Wade Phillips. He was 2-1. Jim Moore, he actually finished above 500, 26-22. Got a NFC South championship, got a division win. This other person, I'm not going to mention their names. You probably know who he is by the record, 3-10. I have sworn I will never mention his name in real life again. Emmett Thomas coached for a very brief time, 3 games, went 1-2. Then Mike Smith came in. He is the only Atlanta Falcons head coach above, let's see, can I do that? 20 games above 500. That's Mike Smith. Got to the NFC championship game twice. 4 playoff berths, also coach of the year. He was 66-46. Best Atlanta Falcons coach in history. And then we let him go. Dan Quinn followed him up. He was 1 game above 500, 43-42. Got to the Super Bowl, obviously, won the NFC championship, won the division, 2 playoff berths. And now Raheem Morris is the head coach. Currently 7-7. Oh, you know what? Why did they do like this? This is not in order. Arthur Smith, of course, was 21-30. Oh, okay. I see what that is. My fault. Raheem Morris, interim coach after Dan left, 4-7. Obviously under 500. And then Arthur Smith, 21-30, just wasted all of our times. And then Raheem Morris, who is currently 7-7. That is the Atlanta Falcons coaching history. So other than Mike Smith, Dan Quinn, and Jim Moore, those are only 3 Atlanta Falcons, no, Lehman Bennett, 4 Atlanta Falcons coaches since 1966 to have an above 500 record coaching. That is utterly ridiculous. And I'm going to prove that to you in a second. Now, another thing about this period of time is Morris came in as the head coach, and he had options to go after people who, if you're bringing in coordinators, you could bring in some coordinators who have an actual track record of success as a coordinator. Again, there's nothing guaranteed with that, but it's a little bit better than bringing in someone who's never done it before. And yeah, I know you do have some examples that did work out, like LaFleur going to Green Bay, from the Kyle Shanahan tree, so to speak, or whatever. But we couldn't really afford that as a Falcons organization, I don't believe. Could we? Bringing in a coach that doesn't have a track record of winning on his own, okay? And you're going to bring in 2 brand new coordinators who've never done it before to a team that have lost 10 games 3 straight years and have not made the playoffs since 2017. Again, all stops needed to be, we need to win this year. We need to do everything possible to win this season. We don't got time to wait another season. You see what I'm saying? Why would we want to wait another season? You did all this stuff in this off season, and then we still got to wait until next year again? How old are we? Are we getting any younger? Don't we want to see our team have a chance to compete one time, at least? Just one period of time in NFL history, we would like to see the Falcons have a real shot at doing something, right? But here we are. Here we are. Again, the Falcons were 6-3, and now we were barely 7-7 because, again, we had to hold on against the Raiders. We gave up the ball back to the Raiders when we didn't have to do that, to give the Raiders a chance to come down the field and possibly win that game. That game should have been over. Even with all the foolery and the interception and everything else that happened, we couldn't call the plays correctly to ensure that the Raiders don't have enough time to get down the field again. And I'm talking about that in a little bit too. Actually, I'll go ahead and just say it real quick. Your head coach is in charge. Decision making, play calling situationally, game management. That's all on the head coach. Coaches is going to let stuff happen. He can see things not right. He can see things not working. I said this the other day. That one play call, I can forget the game now. I'm so mad about it. But they're just going to run to the side again instead of going forward, and that call wasn't superseded by the head coach. You see, we have not ran a successful jet sweep 3 straight times. You're going to run it again anyway? You hear the call over the headset, and you know it ain't right. And you let it happen anyway? See, that's the head coach. Why would you let it happen, though, if you're trying to win the game? Is winning important to the Falcons organization? And that's why I've always used my secular history as an example to say, if I'm the manager and I see an employee doing something wrong several times, it's my job to fix that. Why would I continue to let it hurt the rest of the team, the rest of the shift, the customer, all these different things that happen? Because at the end of the day, my job is on the line, right? Again, the Falcons are now 7-7 after being 6-3, losing 4 straight games. Now, if the Falcons win the next 3, but Tampa wins out, this season was a complete waste of time. We allowed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the division. We had our destiny in our hands, and we just said, here you go. Here you go. All we had to do was beat New Orleans and basically just go 500 the rest of the way. And the division is ours no matter what. That is complete opposite of what happened, right? If Tampa wins out, they win the division. Now, we can hope that they lose a game, but we still have to win out. They ain't no guarantee we can do that right now. Especially now, putting the rookie in position, putting him all the whole season is on his back now. Out of nowhere, no prep time like Batman. Make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio page on YouTube, please. Thank you. And you can also comment. If you're watching this, comment. Let me know what you think. Okay. But the whole season now is on the Rook. And again, if they didn't think he was ready up till now, why do this now? Again, is it a little too late? But if they thought that he could do it, why not do it earlier? At minimum 2 games ago. Maybe not 4 games ago, but 2 games ago. Again, after the bye week, we had to beat the Chargers. And we couldn't even do that. And then we watched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers destroy the Chargers. Same team we played. It's amazing to me that these things have just kind of been allowed to happen, because that's what it's called. It's been allowed to happen. Why now, though? So here's the rest of the story. If the playoffs are important, no matter what, the Falcons have to win out. Okay? Detroit, Philly, and the Vikings are already in. Tampa in as a division winner. Let's just say they end up as a division winner. This is what I'm talking about as far as if we don't win a division, what happens? The Rams currently are division leaders. They would be in. Packers at 10-4 as of right now, they would be in. Washington at 9-5, they will be in. So unless both of them have a complete disaster, they should be in. The Seahawks are the team that will be on the bubble at that point. Seahawks are currently 8-6. Okay. If they win out, they're in easily with 6 losses. Nothing the Falcons can do because we have 7 already. But if they did lose a 7th game, guess what? They still get in because they beat us in October in a lackluster game by the Falcons, right? Now, if the Rams were to lose, which means the Seahawks would win the division, we would be in over the Rams because we have a better conference record than the Rams. I don't think, no matter what happens, I don't think they can have a better conference record than us. Somebody can let me know that. But as of right now, we have a better conference record than the Rams. And as long as if we win out, we are in at that point. But we can't lose another game, though. You see what I'm saying? But see, again, it should never have come down to this in the first place. And it's frustrating because this could have been prevented if Penix is the guy and can give us an ability to convert on 3rd down, a.k.a. using his legs, because Kurt, we know he can't do that, and then making the throws that are necessary and not turning the ball over. Because that's all Kurt has been doing for the last 4 weeks. Turning the ball over and not making the throws and not being able to move around. It's hurt us too many times now. I give credit for Kurt playing the whole season up till now. And truth be told, all of it is not his fault, but the decision-making part is him not knowing when not to throw the ball. That's all his fault. I think everybody can agree with that. Nobody can force that out of him, okay? You can throw the ball into the ground. Stop throwing the interceptions. Stop throwing these bad passes. So again, is Penix so bad that they couldn't see that he would be better than Kurt in these same situations? That's scary to think about because they picked him at 8th. Right? I don't know. But what I wanted to do is go back to the winning part. Is the goal of the Atlanta Falcons organization to actually win? Okay. Is it the purpose of the Falcons organization to go into every season with a winning attitude and doing what is necessary to win games, to have a winning regular season, to get into the playoffs and to have a chance to advance through the playoffs, to get to the NFC Championship and to win a Super Bowl? Is that really the goal of the Atlanta Falcons? Because just looking at it from the outside, the Falcons have only been to the Super Bowl 2 times since 1966. So what does that tell you? Does anybody care? I'm gonna put it like this. Are you only caring that you get a chance, those that live in Atlanta, that you get to buy a ticket and you go to tailgate and have fun doing that, and then you get inside the game and you get to eat some of the low price food that Arthur Blank has provided for you, and you get to watch a game, and then you leave the game, and then you go to an after spot to talk about the game? You know, my brother and I, we used to have season tickets for like 4 straight seasons, and we would always go to Chili's on Peachtree after the game to talk about the game so we can let traffic die down, because we don't live in Atlanta and we always had to drive the 2 hours back home. So that was our ritual. We would go up to the game, we would watch the game. We wouldn't need at the stadium because back then stadium food was way too overpriced, and we would just go eat at Chili's. We talk about what happened at the game, and then we drive back to 2 hours. And we would do that for 4 straight years for all 8 home games every season. For those who live in Atlanta, y'all don't have to worry about all that traveling. Y'all are right there. Y'all can take MARTA, which is smarter, and just pop up, right? You're right there, Mercedes-Benz, right? But did you want to see your team win, or did you just want to see some football? Were you even a Falcons fan, or are you actually going because your actual team is there? You're actually a Kansas City Chief fan. You're actually I can't say Bills, I haven't played there in a while. Whoever, you're a Saints fan. Evil. Trash. Hopefully you weren't doing that. I don't know. But let me give you an example of what's happened since the last time the Atlanta Falcons qualified for the playoffs. Because I want to give you an example of what other teams have done to compare it to what the Falcons have done to answer the question, is it really the goal of the Atlanta Falcons to win each year? And why isn't it? I want y'all to really pay attention to this because this is kind of a big deal. I'm going to name 7 teams. I picked random teams. Is it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 teams, I guess. I picked 10 teams, and I'm listing their win totals after the 2017 season. So after the last season that the Falcons qualified for the playoffs, here are the records of random teams in the NFL. The first team I selected was Pittsburgh. 9-6-1, 8-8, 12-4, 9-7-1, 9-8, 10-7, and currently they are 10-4. Okay, so they have not been under 500 since the last time the Falcons went to the playoffs. The next team, Tampa Bay, 5-11, 7-9, 11-5, and they won the Super Bowl that year. 13-4, 8-9, 9-8, and currently they're 8-6. So they have a little streak there where they made the playoffs 4 years in a row. Interesting. And won a Super Bowl, which means they won the National Football Conference, the NFC, right? Seattle Seahawks, which, by the way, won a Super Bowl before the Atlanta Falcons did. 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, 7-10, 9-8, 9-8, and currently they are 8-6. Interesting. They do have one under 500 season there. By the way, Tampa had 3 under 500 seasons in that period of time since 2017. But they have a Super Bowl. They have playoff appearances, plural. The next team, the Ravens, 10-6, 14-2, 11-5, 8-9, 10-7, 13-4. They lost the conference championship, and currently they are 9-5. That's a lot of wins in there since 2017. There's a point to this. I'm not finished. Philly, the Eagles, not the Hotel California Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles football team. 2017 season, they won the Super Bowl. If you remember what happened in 2017 in the playoffs of the Falcons, that team won the Super Bowl. Then they went 9-7, 4-11, 9-8, 14-3, and lost the Super Bowl. 11-6, and currently they are 12-2. So they won a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl in that time frame. Los Angeles Rams, 13-3, lost the Super Bowl. 9-7, 10-6, 12-5, won the Super Bowl. 5-12, 10-7, and currently they are 8-6. That's 2 conference championships that they've won. Won Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl since 2017. Frisco, San Francisco, 4-12, 13-3, lost the Super Bowl. 6-10, 10-7, 13-4, 12-5, lost the Super Bowl. So since 2017, they've been to the Super Bowl twice. That's 2 conference championships that Frisco has won since the last time the Falcons made the playoffs. Currently, though, they're 6-8. Not too good. Kansas City Chiefs. You already know where this is going, right? 12-4, 12-4, 14-2, 12-5, 14-3, 11-6, currently 13-1. So 12-4, they lost the conference championship. 12-4, they won the Super Bowl. 14-2, they lost the Super Bowl. 12-5, they lost the conference championship. 14-3, they won the Super Bowl. 11-6, they won the Super Bowl. They've been to 6 conference championship games, have won 3 Super Bowls since the last time the Atlanta Falcons went to the playoffs. And currently, they're 13-1. That's Kansas City Chiefs. Green Bay Packers was another team I selected. And again, you can comment. Let me know what you think about all this craziness. Green Bay, 6-9. Then they went 13-3, lost the conference championship. 13-3, lost the conference championship. 13-4, 8-9, 9-8, and currently they're 10-4. Since the last time the Falcons made it to the playoffs. The Cowboys, 10-6, 8-8, 6-10, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. Currently, they are 6-8. Shoot, even the Detroit Lions, and I didn't go back all the way, but the last 3 years, they're 9-8, 12-5, lost the conference championship, and currently they're 12-2. Now, prior to that, they weren't a good team. We all know that. But they built something out of nothing. And look at them now. The Falcons since 2017, 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10, and currently 7-7. All those previous teams that I told y'all about, they don't all have the same players on their teams for that period of time since 2017. Yet they continue to have winning seasons. Right? Just think about that. All of those teams that I mentioned, except for the Cowboys, Steelers, and Seattle, I believe, all appeared in conference championship games since 2017. Philly, the Rams, San Francisco, and KC have appeared in at least 2 Super Bowls each during that time. And of course, like I said before, Kansas City has appeared in the last 5 championship games in the AFC. Only Tampa had 2 losing seasons in a row during that period of time. Meanwhile, the Falcons have had 6 losing seasons in a row since the last time we made the playoffs. That is 60 losses, guys. Is it really the goal of the Atlanta Falcons to win games? Our record says no. So again, Falcons organization, it tells me no. And that goes, unfortunately, to ownership. Because what separates one owner from all the other owners? All the other owners that have winning going on, their goal is to win games. Hey, what do we need to do to win as many games as possible for us to qualify for the playoffs? And what do we need to do to qualify for the playoffs to be able to win playoff games for us to get to the championship game? And what do we need to do to get from the championship game to the Super Bowl? And then what do we need to do to get from the Super Bowl to winning the Super Bowl? Tell me what we need to do, and we're going to do that. See, that's ownership. And then they got to be able to get the guy that can make it happen. Who's he actually talking to? The general manager, to manage the goal of winning a Super Bowl. Don't come at me, oh, Chris, it doesn't happen overnight. I just read you what 10 different teams have done since the last time the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl. Hundreds of players have come through these organizations over a period of time. Think about that. Think about that. Multiple quarterbacks have played for some of these teams over a period of time. Yet, they have some kind of semblance of winning on a regular doggone basis. Doesn't that mean anything to anybody? The Rams have had 2 different quarterbacks. Right? I went back again from 2017 up. Right? That has to mean something to somebody. Maybe some of y'all don't care. Maybe that's what it is, just the apathy part of it. But does the Atlanta Falcons organization care to do what's needed to not just have a above 500 season, but to be able to win playoff games, get to the Super Bowl, and win a Super Bowl? Because since 1966, the Atlanta Falcons have 2 NFC Championship victories and 2 appearances in the Super Bowl, both losses. That's it. That tells you all you need to know. Decade after decade after I just read to y'all the coaching history of the Atlanta Falcons since 1966. We have 4 coaches that finished above 500 for the Atlanta Falcons. 4. It tells you a lot right there, guys. And this current season told you a lot. Because as we were going through loss after loss and not even being able to compete, despite the fact that we got talent on our team to compete, they weren't going to make a move. Raheem Morris said there's no problem. I don't see no problem with Kurt. Kurt's not having no problems. We're good. Kurt deserves to work through it. Kurt needs to be better. Penix is now the quarterback for the rest of the season. What? How did that happen? I just have a feeling that winning just isn't that big of a deal to somebody. Maybe it's everybody. I don't know. But everything starts from the top down, right? Ownership, general management, coach. Game management, making decisions on the fly, adjusting, situational play calling. Again, the head coach has a say in all of those things because that's the person in charge. You can't blame anything on anybody else when you're the head coach. Yeah, the players have to execute and all that kind of good stuff, but your job is to put in the right players to execute, to put the players in the best position to succeed first. And if they're not doing that, you got to make a change. We keep putting Pitts out there like he can play. He can't. Why didn't you make a move there? He's not giving you nothing on the field. We're playing 10 on 11 on offense. You see what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about here? A whole season has gone by, and you got a rookie that has double the amount of catches than our 4-year starter? Supposed to be the unicorn, the highest drafted tight end in history. You got a rookie that has double. Let me pull it up real quick. Let me just tell y'all. Let me just make sure you understand how crazy this is. Brock Bowers currently has 90 catches for 968 yards and 4 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts currently has 40 catches for 536 yards and 3 touchdowns. That means Brock Bowers actually has triple the amount of catches. And Brock Bowers, with a different quarterback, would have double the amount of touchdowns as well. We all know that. But despite that, see, think about what I just said. Kirk Cousins is supposed to be better than any of the quarterbacks that the Raiders have, yet Brock Bowers has 90 catches and on the precipice of cracking 1,000 yards for the season. Brock Bowers might have 1,200 yards in his first season in the NFL, with basically nobody throwing him the ball. Kyle Pitts is not supposed to be hurt. Kirk is a better quarterback, yet he has 40 catches. That's wild. My bad. Let me update that. No, that is updated. I was looking from bottom to top. That is updated. He has 40 catches for the whole season. It's time to admit a mistake was made and put Charlie Warner out there a little bit more. Or make Tyler Algier your tight end. If you're not going to give him the ball to run a whole lot, let him go out and run something out the backfield a few times. He can run. He got speed. He's strong too. He don't get tackled. But you got to mitigate that weakness. And again, that's why I asked about Penix. Why now? Because you saw these problems with Kurt 4 weeks ago, and you just said, well, we're going to just let them keep turning the ball over. Let's let them making these bad decisions and not getting the ball where we need to on a regular basis. And we can't convert on third down over and over again. And, but then again, I'm like, okay, well, is it the play calling? Your rookie coordinator, Zach Robinson, is it that? Like, what is it, though? Because the other organizations, again, they would have fired somebody. As much as people say, well, firing somebody ain't going to do no good, it always seems to go good for other teams for some reason. It always heightens everybody's, oh, man, they just fired, or, blah, blah. We need to do better. I mean, it always does something to somebody else. Every time I fired somebody, it happened. When it looked like I was interviewing people, all of a sudden people started doing their jobs a little bit better. You see what I'm saying? But for the Falcons, we never do that. We always prolong changes. We always let stuff go too long to the detriment of the players that are on the field trying to win. We never can make a decision in a timely manner to fix a season. I just read to you what the Atlanta Falcons have done since 2017 as compared to 10 other teams. You want me to go through that one more time real quick? Falcons 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. All the other teams that I mentioned have multiple Super Bowl appearances in the same amount of time. Or at the very least, they're above 500 every season. And that has to mean something. Don't you want to see your team win more than they lose at the very least? They might not get to the Super Bowl, but at least give you a 500 season, 3 games above 500 finish. Again, Tampa Bay, found Tampa Bay real quick. After 2017, went 5-11 and 7-9. Then 11-5 won the Super Bowl. 13-4 had a chance to win the Super Bowl but didn't. Then they went 8-9. Then they went 9-8 and currently 8-6. That's a competitive team right there that they built. Seattle 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, 7-10, 9-8, 9-8, currently 8-6. That's a competitive team. You know your team's going to win more than they lose most of the time. Pittsburgh hasn't had a losing season in 2 decades. You're going to throw that terrible towel out there because at the very least, your team is better than most. Might not win no Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl, but hey, guess what? At least you have a chance to get to the playoffs because you can't win a Super Bowl without getting to the playoffs. Who else? The Ravens, 10-6, 14-2, 11-5, 8-9, 10-7, 13-4. That's a lot of chances to do stuff there. Now, if you don't do it, not my fault, but at least your team has a chance to. Philly has won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl since 2017. In between that, they did have that 4-11 season, but outside of that, 9-7, 9-8, 14-3, 11-6. They're currently 12-2. The Rams had that 5-12 season squeezed in there, but outside of that, 13-3, 9-7, 10-6, 12-5, 10-7, 2 conference championships, and a Super Bowl victory, with 2 different quarterbacks involved in that time span. But meanwhile, the Falcons, 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. Why are y'all happy about that? Why are y'all satisfied with that? Maybe you're not happy, but you're satisfied with that. You're ho-hum, nothing could be done about it. Why is our organization so subpar as opposed to all these other organizations? Cowboys haven't done nothing, but at least they're 10-6, 8-8, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. This year ain't so hot, 6-8, but we know all the injuries that they've had. Right? Detroit, 9-8, 12-5, 12-2 so far this year. Detroit has completely built a team from scraps, if we want to go to Iron Man. The Detroit Lions have built them a championship team with a bunch of scraps in Detroit, right? Detroit Motors, GM, right? But the Falcons, all we can do, 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. That's 60 losses since 2017. You know how many years of winning we got to do to get back to 500 just from that? Like, that's madness, isn't it? I'm about to get off of here. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. Another day, I'm going to talk about Penix in general. Actually, my fault. I do want to talk about the game itself. Raiders. So Kirk was 11 for 17 in that game for 112 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Robinson had 22 touches for 125 yards, 5.7 yards a carry. Tyler, 12 touches for 43 yards. Drake had 3 catches for the whole game and a touchdown. Kyle had 4 catches for 28 yards. Malone had 2 sacks. Ellis had a sack. Zach had a sack. We had 4 sacks in that game. Koo was 2 for 3. We know he's out for the season as well now. Ritter on the other side was 23 for 49. He threw the ball 49 times. Want to know why? Because he was also their leading rusher for 28 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The Falcons were 4 of 13 on 3rd down. We had 14 first downs the whole game. And again, we left time on the clock for the Raiders to be able to have a chance to win that game, and they almost did. Almost happened. So again, what does the game come down to? Game management, situational play calling on offense and defense, making adjustments in situations where you can see something is working. Why don't you go with that rather than do the opposite? We always seem to do the opposite. We always on purpose quadruple down on it and say, I know this is working, but we're going to do this instead. We're going to try this. This has been working the whole game, but now we're going to throw it instead of running it again. 5.7 yards a carry, Bajan had 22 touches for 125 yards. Another 1,000-yard rusher on your Atlanta Falcons. Applaud to him. Great picture with the offensive line. But instead of doing that all the way through, we said, no, we're going to throw it a couple times and make some more incompletions and stop the clock to give the Raiders an opportunity to come all the way down the field and give them a Hail Mary chance. That don't make no sense. But we did it. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Why would you not want to try to fix an issue before it becomes an issue? Why would you not want to fix an issue that you have rather than continue to let it be an issue and let it affect your whole team? You got guys putting their lives on the line every game in football. And you treat them like it don't matter by saying, Kirk ain't doing no wrong. Kirk can't do no wrong. We paid him all the money, so we got to keep him as quarterback no matter what. And see, again, I've never been a subscriber to that. I've always been a subscriber. I don't care what you're getting paid. You got to do what I tell you to do. So if I tell you to come over here, you got to come off the field. Nobody can be on the field unless the coach says you can be on the field. Y'all do understand that, right? I talk about that with the NBA all the time in the Hawks. The coach decides who's on that starting lineup. The coach decides who's in the rotation, not the players. That's how it is. If you're trying to win, now if you don't care about winning, you just let whatever happens, happens. During the course of a game. You can do that if you want to, but that don't make no sense. It's not logical. And how do I know that? I look at all the teams that have won NBA championships over the last 30 years. Then the Hawks don't have one. Right? It's easy to see. The Falcons have not done enough. I just read it all to y'all to not compete. In this particular season, they had some options and they chose not to use the options that they put an investment in with the 8th pick in the draft. But now they're going to do it. When the season, I mean, again, this is what has to happen for the Falcons to maybe make the playoffs. First of all, either hope Tampa loses a game and the Falcons win out. We have the tiebreaker. But if that don't happen, okay, again, Detroit, Philly, and the Vikings have already clinched. Tampa, if they win the division, they would be in. The Rams, if they win the division, they would be in. Packers, 10-4. Washington, 9-5. If they don't have disasters, they'll be in. The Seahawks are the first team up in the last spot. They are currently 8-6. If they win out, Falcons are not in. Nothing they can do. If Seahawks lose a game and the Falcons still win out, the Seahawks still make the playoffs because they beat us in October. Now, if the Seahawks were to fool around and lose 2 games, but the Rams, see how I say that? If the Rams lose, that's my bad. So if the Seahawks win the division and the Rams lose a game to get to 10-7, because again, the Rams are above us right now. But if the Rams end up at 10-7 and the Falcons win out, we would get in over the Rams because we have a better conference record. Unless the Falcons have to win out. The Falcons win out, we'll have a better conference record than a whole bunch of people, actually. But we'll have one better than the Rams. That's the only other chance the Falcons would have to get into the playoffs. But again, it should have never came down to this in the first place. We lost 4 games in a row that we had no business losing 4 in a row. At worst, we should have went 2-2. And are we saying that Penix couldn't give us 2-2? Or if you didn't want to give them the first 2 games of that stretch, the next 2 games of that stretch, you definitely do, because we went 0-2. We needed to win the next 2, but we ended up losing those 2 as well to get the 7-7. You're telling me you didn't think Penix was good enough to give us 2 wins? But now you're going to put the whole season on the line to say he has to win 3 straight, because that's what has to happen. We lose another game, we're out. This whole season was a waste again. And more than likely, we end up losing 10 games again for the 4th straight season. Again, the Atlanta Falcons, since 2017, 7-9, 7-9, 4-12, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. Do we really want to hear 7-10 again? This was the year we could not hear 7-10. The whole offseason said that. You had to make all the changes to say we're going to win this year. But the last 4 losses say it's not that big a deal. Raheem Morris is basically telling us ain't that big a deal. We're not going to make no moves at quarterback. That's what he kept saying. Ain't no problem with Kirk. I don't see no problems out there. He ain't having that bad of a season. He earns the right to get out this rut. That's what he kept saying, right? It wasn't about the team at that point. It wasn't about the team at that point. Pitt's out there lollygagging around. He has 40 catches as opposed to 90 catches from Brock Bowers right now. You see what I'm saying? And Brock ain't had nobody throwing him the ball. But he has 90 catches? Get out of here. Winning just has not been that important. I've named you 10 teams that several teams have 2 Super Bowl appearances since 2017. Frisco has 2 Super Bowl appearances since 2017. Philly has 2 Super Bowl appearances since 2017, 2017 being the year that they actually won after they knocked us out. The Rams have 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 different quarterbacks. Kansas City, of course, all Super Bowl all day. I don't got to go through that again with them. Green Bay, they haven't had Super Bowl appearances, but they've been to the conference championship a couple of times. Cowboys, they suck, but they at least been above 500. Again, their last 3 seasons was 12-5, 12-5, and 12-5. They're currently 6-8. But they at least can say, well, we got a chance to do something in the playoffs because we can get to the playoffs. And again, Detroit, the last 3 seasons, 9-8, 12-5. They lost in the conference championship last year. They're currently 12-2. Yet we just got to sit here and take it and be like, oh, well, we're at 500 at least, and we almost was going to win the division outright, but Tampa, and we just supposed to sit here and take it. We really had to stare those 4 losses in a row just cause. And I just don't think that's acceptable. See, other franchises would have made some kind of a move to say this is not acceptable. Somebody got to go. Somebody on the coaching staff got to go. You got to shake this up because either you're not making enough good. Again, if you're not going to fire the head coach, somebody has to take the brunt of it to say, hey, this ain't acceptable. You're calling way too many plays that are a detriment to your team. You don't know how to adjust, sir. You keep running these plays that are the opposite of success. Here are the successful plays, and you won't keep running those. You keep going back to the crap that don't work. Sir, on defense, you keep letting these guys what are we doing? And guess what? If the players can't do it, you got to find another player. You got to talk to the GM and be like, hey, GM, sir, we got to do something here. We can't just go through the deadline and not get, no, this ain't working. We had an off season where all issues were supposed to be solved for us to have a 10-win season at minimum. And here we are staring 7-10 in the face again. And again, I wish a couple of y'all had commented. I wanted to interact with y'all a little bit, but I got to go because it's only going to be an hour or so. But again, I named y'all a lot of teams in the NFL that have just done so much better than the Atlanta Falcons just since 2017. Not before that. I don't even get into that. Our team history. And I just showed y'all, here are all the coaches of the Atlanta Falcons since 1966. And we only got 4 that have above 500 records. We only have 1 that's above 20 games above 500. That's not a winning culture there, guys. The Atlanta Falcons have never hired a coach that was already a winner before he got here. That's never happened in Falcons history since 1966. Why is that? You see what I'm saying? That can't be cool for y'all to hear. But for some of you, it might be. I don't know. Some of you just don't care. I know that. But we're 7-7 and on the verge of missing the playoffs again. Not being able to finish above 500 again. Some of y'all are season ticket holders. Like, y'all are spending money. Like, I don't know how some of y'all dismiss season ticket holders like they don't matter. You dismiss the people who drive 2-3 hours away to come to a Falcons game and say they don't matter. It don't matter that they've made an actual physical investment in time and money to bring their family up, to go out and tailgate for 3 hours, rain, sleet, or snow, to support their team, just for the team to not actually have a chance to win each game. Nothing is guaranteed, but you want to see your team have a chance to win, don't you? And we just don't have enough chances to win each season. It just don't happen. Like these other teams that I mentioned, the record says it. Super Bowl appearances say it. Super Bowl wins say it. The Falcons don't have a Super Bowl win. We have 2 Super Bowl appearances. We have a few championship game appearances. We have 2 NFC championships. And what, 4 NFC championship appearances, I believe, off the top of my head? That ain't enough. I just listed all these teams. The Rams, 13-3, lost the Super Bowl. That means they won the NFC. 12-5, won the Super Bowl. That means they won the NFC. San Fran, 13-3, lost the Super Bowl. 12-5, lost the Super Bowl. They had 4 championship game appearances since 2017. Since the last time the Falcons made the playoffs, the Frisco 49ers have been in 4 conference championship games. They've won 2. Kansas City lost a conference championship, won a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl, lost a conference championship, won a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, won a kind of a pattern, ain't it? They have a potential to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl. They don't got the same players since 2017. Not all of them. They got a couple left from the first time that team went to the Super Bowl, right? Think about the diversity of what these teams have done over a period of time, and it don't matter because the one constant is your head coach who knows what they're doing. And why can't the Falcons go and get somebody that knows what they're doing and has built a winner and a championship team over a period of time from scratch? Why don't the Falcons ever want to do that just once? We had a chance to do it and we didn't. We had to just do like Trey Young did, roll the dice. Right? I don't play dice, by the way. Never have, never will. I just see what I see on TV, right? But here we are. I just listed all of our Falcons coaches earlier in the show. Go watch that. Startling. I just read y'all our records compared to the records of all these other teams. Seattle, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, 7-10, 9-8, 9-8. They're 8-6. They're competitive. They have a chance to win each year. 12th man, they're in Seattle land, right? Tampa has a Super Bowl. Pittsburgh has never had a losing season in 2 decades. Think about all the players that have been through that organization for them to be able to say something like that. But the Falcons, we can't even have back-to-back winning seasons. Think about our franchise. There was a point in time before Matt Ryan got here that the Atlanta Falcons had never had back-to-back winning seasons since 1960 freaking 6. Think about that. That's not a winning culture. That's not sustainable in any galaxy of sports. But here we are, though. So again, why now? I don't know. Again, if Penix wasn't good enough to play any games at all season long, why did you get him? Knowing you're getting Kurt off of a major injury, and he could have gone down first, second, third game of the season, and you got somebody who you didn't think could be ready to step in, that's crazy talk. But if you did have the confidence that he could play, and you just refuse to play him just because, oh, well, we have to play Kurt no matter what because of the contract and all what we did to get him and everything like that. But are you trying to win games with that mentality? No, you're not. But it can't be both, can it? If he could play now, he could have played 2 games from now. But 2 games prior to this, 3 games prior to this. Like literally, he could have been playing. I mean, at a certain point, when you can't move the ball, that's usually when you put somebody else in. I know it's not college ball and stuff, but are we trying to win the game or are we trying to win the game? We almost got beat by a team that has 11 losses, and their quarterback was also the leading rusher on the team in that game on Monday night. We literally almost lost that game. If we had lost 5 games in a row, you see what I'm saying? Like, just think about how that would. So anyway, let me get off of here. Make sure you subscribe to IMT and Worldwide Radio on YouTube. I really appreciate the support. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe. I'm not subscribed, but follow on. I'm trying to find it now. Facebook, Instagram, IMT and Worldwide Radio. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm on there all the time, pretty much. Intellect ATL and Jordan 23. That's my co-host, Jordan Jackson. Shout out to Jordan. Again, we're on Twitch now. You can watch on Twitch. IMT and Worldwide Radio is the page. Make sure you do hit up our sponsor for today, Southern Classic Transportation. Hit up Dennis at 404-291-0150. Make sure you let them know Around the ATL sent you. You got to go to a concert. You want to go in style. Remember, they're taking you to the concert. They're waiting until that concert is over and taking you back home. You have that vehicle for the evening. So you want to go on a nice date with your lady friend, whatnot, or your wife. That's who you need to call. Southern Classic Transportation. You need to go to Miami for a trip or a business affair or whatnot. That's who you need to call. Make sure you let them know Around the ATL sent you. And again, last but not least, you know somebody that needs a photo shoot. I'm booking IMTandWorldwideImages.com. I just had a great maternity shoot. I did not add that to my page. I was going to show y'all. I could do it. Let's see if I can do it real quick. They're actually having their 4th child, and they actually were the couple where I actually had my first maternity shoot with, and actually did. Oh wow, look at that. I actually did a photo shoot. Well, there's one picture right there. I did a photo shoot with their family 2 years ago, but they're about to have their 4th child, and I'm trying to upload a picture to show y'all real quick. There we go. That's from the most recent shoot right there. So if you need some photos, go to IMTandWorldwideImages.com. Here's some other photos. I'll check them out. I also did a photo shoot for Twin Peaks Restaurant earlier this year. So definitely let me know if you need any photos. So that being said, let me get out of here. Again, the Falcons, I just don't know where we are right now in regards to just our organization or direction. Do we really have a direction? Why is it taking so long for us to get a direction? Isn't it frustrating to the fan base as a whole? I just don't think, again, maybe we just don't really have a really good fan base anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but once they can show that they're not able to really help the team, you got to make a choice now. Pitts can't help you win no games. He should never have been touching the field as far as I'm concerned. He has 40 catches for the entire season. 40. 500 yards for the entire season. Brock Bowers, a rookie, has 90 catches, almost 1,000 yards. Same amount of games played. Kirk Cousins, unfortunately, is showing you he can't do it. Whatever it is, maybe he's hurt and he don't want to tell nobody. Maybe I would hope that that's the reason. Because again, we put in a lot of money. Money ain't everything, but the investment is there. And on the technical side, he needed to play 2 seasons. But it don't even look like we're going to get 1 entire season out of Kirk. That's terrible. That's terrible management from everybody involved. Where's the quarterback coach to tell him, hey, stop double pumping? Like, what are we doing? Throw it in the ground. If you're that hesitant, don't make that decision. Don't want you to take the sack either, but throw it out of bounds at least. Don't let nobody be able to get it. You should be better than that. You are a 10-plus year veteran. But that hasn't been happening. He's throwing these interceptions over and over and over again. He's not helping us win games. We've lost 4 in a row to prove that. We almost lost 5 in a row to a team that has 11 losses. Is it the goal of the Atlanta Falcons to win the Super Bowl? We're going to find out, I guess, these last 3 games and going into this offseason. We're going to find out because it's supposed to have been do or die this season. Now, with what's happened, it's quadruple do or die next season. Because, again, think about all these players. They're getting a year older. You got another year of reps on you. Brady is on his, I don't want to say his last legs, but effectiveness-wise, he's right there on the edge of not being effective anymore. We've wasted one of the best defensive linemen in football. Just like we were wasting Matt Ryan, we were wasting Julio Jones. Just wasting it. Just cause? That can't be it. We don't got no cornerbacks. Just cause? Just cause? Like, again, it's just, what are we really doing? It's upsetting. But anyway, I got to go, y'all. Y'all take care. This is Around the ATL on IMTM Worldwide Radio. Till next time. Make sure y'all subscribe, though. Make sure you share it with at least one other person, too. If you like what I talked about today, share it with at least one other Falcons fan. I really would appreciate it. Y'all take care. Peace.